Okay guys, we are getting ready for the Dynasty versus Art Chaos match. It is going to be a good one. I'm standing here with Axel Godin. You guys played in the Challengers bracket in Dallas, and you pretty much killed everyone. Are you nervous coming into this weekend, or you think you're pretty much going to have the same outcome?
Yeah, we're like a bit nervous because the Challenger division is a lot different than the Champion division. We have a first game against Dynasty, which is really hard to start with. So we'll see. We have to focus on our lane, have a good game, play slow game, because the layout is like this. So we'll see. We have to really focus on it.
You have some tough competition today. You're playing Dynasty coming up, and then you'll play Iron Man later today. Which team do you think is going to be harder to beat?
I would say Dynasty, because they didn't have any changes in the off-season, so they work out pretty well all seasons. Iron Man is a kind of new team now, so yeah, I would say Dynasty. But Iron Man is going to be a tough match too.
During practices, did you like how this field was playing for you guys? Does it play to your strengths?
It's not really my game because I like to play aggressive, but we have to hold the lanes. It's a kind of slow game, so it's mitigate.
Can we expect to see you guys trying to get out wide off the break or staying more on the inside of the bunkers?
This is still a secret.
Oh, all right. We'll have to see. Thank you, Axel. Stay tuned. It'll be Dynasty versus Art Chaos.
Art Chaos has one of the most dominant rosters in the entire world, and it's a fact no one can argue. They marched through the Challengers division in Dallas, completely decimating every single team that stood in front of them on their way to winning the division. They now make their first appearance in the Champions division, and though the team may be new to the league, the star players that make up their roster are household names in the game. Konstantin Fedorov is the best pure killer in the sport, and he was a big reason Houston Heat was so dominant during his 2 years with that team. Sergei Sonaiskov and Misha Kiesnev were the two other Russian sensations on Heat with Fedorov, and they are as good as it gets. Adding to the firepower Art Chaos is bringing to the fight is the 2012 Top Gun Award winner Alexander Birnikov, who made the move to Chaos after spending his entire career with Moscow Red Legion. Surrounding those stars is a cast who were stars with their former teams, including Axel Godin and Clint Moore. Add in a bunch of young Russian killers, and you have a team who could win events in the PSP this season. Senegal Dynasty came a half a second away from defeating Infamous in Dallas and moving on to the finals, but they took the semifinal loss despite a last-second dive from Oliver Lang, last year's Top Gun. Dynasty is the most successful team in the modern paintball era for a reason. They are amazing at every level of the game. They won the first two events last season, took second in Chicago, and ended up winning the overall season title. They will be a favorite here at the Mid-Atlantic Open. They have smart attackers, some of the best mid players in the game, and back players who are masters at shooting people off the break and closing points. Blake Garber will be pushing down the attack on the D side. Kyle Spickett and Alex Frazier will be moving down the snake side. But one of the strengths of Dynasty is their versatility. They can move players around to suit whatever game plan they feel will be the most effective, with weapons like Brandon Short and Tyler Harmon. Ryan Greenspan can play everywhere, and since this field will see heavy guns off the break, Yosh Rao and Glenn Takamoto will be big assets. With their depth and experience, Dynasty could very well repeat their performance here last year and take the victory.
Start of the Champions Division here at the 2014 PSP Mid-Atlantic Open. I'm Matty Marshall with Todd Martinez. Wow, man, we got Art Chaos and San Diego Dynasty about to throw down here. Todd, what do you think about this matchup?
Man, I just can't wait for it to get started. I really want to see how Art Chaos is going to attack this field. You know, Dynasty won this event last year by playing super slow, just lock it down paintball, not really aggressive at all. Very capable of playing aggressively. Art Chaos, same thing, but this is Art Chaos's. None of these guys new to the Champions Division, but new as a team to the Champions Division. So just curious on how they're going to come out, how they're going to attack this field, what they're going to throw at Dynasty, and, same thing, how's Dynasty going to play Art Chaos? Are they going to try and attack them? Are both these teams going to try and play this field slow? Just really excited to get this tournament going here in the Champions League.
Well, I think that if I was Dynasty, if I was Rusty Glaze, I would say, hey, look, we know Art Chaos, they're heavy hitters when it comes to aggression. So let's try to slow play them to start the game a little bit. and see what sort of game plans they come with. Because if Art Chaos tries to ride that aggressive edge here with Dynasty, the lane shooters that Dynasty has, and the amount of practice they put on this field, it's going to be tough. We'll see, though. I mean, you're talking about some of the best game players that have ever played the game on these two teams combined. So, you know, future Hall of Famers. And I can't wait for it to get started, too, Todd. This game brought to you by GI Sports, huge supporter of the game. And Steve Rabikoff will be joining us up here in the announcer's booth shortly. Man, whew, Art Chaos and San Diego Dynasty. We are under a minute to go here. And looks like they're in the huddle. You got Alex Frazier, Brandon Short, Ryan Greenspan, Oliver Lang. That is an awesome starting lineup for Dynasty. On the flip side, Art Chaos, they got Sergey, Mishka, Biernikov, Pavel Lukashuk, and Konstantin Fedorov, their 5 best players. On the breakout, both teams conservative, trying to suck into that pocket, and it looks like Art Chaos gets out wide on the D side, but they lose a body on this snake side, Todd.
Yeah, Art Chaos loses one early. Dynasty doubling up both of those 2 center bunkers and get Ryan Greenspan out there to that Dorito 1. So, you know, heavy guns on the break for Dynasty. Able to take advantage, get one early, but Art Chaos does get out wide to that Dorito side corner. And alive here in the middle, you got Mishka and Sergey in those Dorito side bunkers. Up in the middle is Mishka, number 77 on your screen, looking towards the Dorito side.
Todd, move made by Brandon Short up to the center 50, and that is going to enable him to shut down the lane on the D side, but he decides to start looking underneath that 50-yard line structure. Mishka checks a hit, looks like he's clean. 4 players alive still for Art Chaos. Konstantin Fedorov was shot by Yoshua off the break, and we heard in that scouting report at the start of the open of this match is guys like Yoshua are going to be huge for their teams. Those off-the-break shooters like Dave Baines, Mike Paxton, Yoshua, you know, those guys that are just so consistent at chalking up kills and playing that clutch game are going to be huge on this layout. Oh, and it looks like Lukashuk is going to walk off as well, too. So the early advantage going to Dynasty here. 3 bodies left alive for Art Chaos. You're looking at Dynasty slow controlled still, even though they have the advantage. It's 5-on-3. It's Art Chaos making moves. Art Chaos down bodies pushing forward on that D side.
Yeah, looks like Biernikov gets up there to the Dorito 1. Not sure if anybody on Art Chaos knows where Brandon Short is, as Ryan Greenspan gets doubled up with by Oliver Lang, which pushes him up into the Dorito 2. Now 5 bodies on 3 for Dynasty. Mishka switching both sides back and forth as Brandon Short comes edging out a little bit more in the middle of that A. Ryan Greenspan tries to make a move and gets shot in the goggles by Mishka. So 4-on-3 right now, but Mishka's still switching back and forth. Brandon Short still edging towards the snake side a little bit, trying to get shots underneath the A, as Biernikov and Mishka both looking towards the Dorito side. Here comes Short launching through the middle of the field. Nobody picks him up.
Oh,
he gets
beautiful.
Mishka in the back and gets all 3 as nobody, I don't think anybody ever knew that he was there.
That was nasty, Todd. Brandon Short made a sneaky move up to the center 50. He started in the backfield. Brandon Short was the one that got that kill on Pavel to get that second one for Dynasty, and then launches for the first awesome run through of the tournament, a 3-pack up the center. Todd, that was beautiful, and that was a 4-pack for Brandon Short, because he did get that shot on Lukashuk as well. What an amazing first point here for Dynasty, and particularly for Brandon Short. Let's check out this replay.
So here you have Short, looks, sees, takes off right through the middle of the field, shoots the Dorito in the back, gets Biernikov, gets Mishka, still untouched, comes through, finds Sergey, who's locking off the snake side, who just switches to see what happened to Biernikov and gets him right there in the shoulder for a well-executed 3-pack run-through.
Oh, just chicken wing Mishka, just looked like he shot Sergey about 4 or 5 times in the shoulder and neck area, went headhunting to make a statement to Art Chaos right away. So, you know, that was just beautiful work right there, and an interesting play call. That was the first time we've seen Rusty Glaze, arguably the best coach in the game, as he was able to guide Dynasty to the hardest thing to do in the paintball world, other than just win the World Cup, is win that series title. Dynasty won 2 events last year. This was one of them. They took second in Chicago, and Dynasty actually had to retire from playing, or Rusty had to retire from playing to coach the team. Wasn't at the first event because he has 2 kids and a full-time job, so need to take care of the family. So it was just one of those things, and they finally got him back, so that's a huge bonus. And that play call was kind of interesting, Todd.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody on Art Chaos ever knew that Brandon Short was there. He made his move up to the A, snuck in there. The only guy that would have saw him was Lukashuk, which I think Brandon Short did sneak that shot in underneath the A, and then kind of just kept edging his way towards the snake, looking, and then Biernikov made his move up into that Dorito 2 and focused solely on Oliver Lang down that Dorito side. Just let Brandon Short cut right through the middle and slice them to bits, and that's the type of stuff we like to see.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So people saying, yeah, well, this field might play slow. Brandon Short just, going up there, just dominating on a 3-pack run through, getting 4 kills in that first point. And so if you got Brandon Short on your fantasy roster, you are stoked right now. 5 players alive for Art Chaos as Art Chaos shoots a body off the break now, and Dynasty, 2 bodies drop for them. They're stuck in the pocket, and it looks like Biernikov, he gets shot. Oliver Lang making his move up on the D side of the field.
Yeah, Oliver Lang bumps into that Dorito too. Fedorov was able to come across all the way to the snake side corner on the break. That he helps Lukashuk come across and get into the snakes. Lukashuk tries to crawl into the 50 and it gets picked up by Oliver Lang. Alex Frage getting shot. Looks like he had a little bit of a gun issue on the break running up to that can. He gets shot right away, but Fedorov, off Lukashuk's death, he dives into the snake 1. So Art Chaos still had a little bit of field position over here. Not too bad. Sergey still back in that back center tower, but Fedorov wide and Mishka wide over there in the Dorito for Art Chaos. Oliver Lang in Dorito 2 up the field. 2 bodies left alive behind him in Yosh Rao and Brandon Short in the 2 middle towers as Fedorov makes his move. As Oliver Lang had looked really quick down the Dorito side, Fedorov able to sneak into the 50. So a good spot for Fedorov to be in right now, considering the field position of Dynasty, but Yosh Rao picks him up, and he's got a lot of paint on his back to dump right into Fedorov's bunker. So Oliver Lang gets a swab in on his gun. He's shooting straight again, and those 2 are just going to pound Fedorov, and Brandon Short's the only body that's got the Dorito side locked off right now for Dynasty.
Yeah, Todd, not really any movement, though, for Art Chaos on that D side of the field. They're kind of stuck in D1. That's Mishka over there. Sergey Sonaiskov is backing up Fedorov. Fedorov, he's the one with the ball right now, trying to wrap around. He puts Yosh Rao in. You can see Yosh Rao trying to gunfight Fedorov. Fedorov wrapping around, trying to get a shot. Brandon Short has to push all the way around the center, and here comes Brandon Short. Brandon Short runs up, and he finally gets picked up by Sergey. Sergey had made the move into Snake 1. Beautiful move by Sergey, and I think Sergey just got picked up. No, he's clean. Yeah, so now 3 players left alive, and it looks like 2 bodies for Dynasty. Yosh Rao in that back center, and Oliver Lang on the D side. D2 is Oliver Lang, and here comes Fedorov.
Yeah, Mishka snuck out to that Dorito side corner. I think he got a shot in on the back of Yosh Rao, but Sergey gets shot, I believe, by Oliver Lang. Yosh Rao is clean. So a 2-on-2 situation now. Fedorov in the 50 and Mishka bumping up into the Dorito 2. Oliver Lang in Dorito 3, furiously loading, trying to protect himself as Mishka starts attacking up the Dorito side. He mirrors up Oliver Lang in the Dorito 3 as Fedorov starts wrapping on Yosh Rao. Oliver Lang gets to his feet, looking to make a move, wraps high over the top on Mishka. Fedorov really playing tight on this snake side 50.
Well, Todd, this is a tough position for both Oliver and Yosh. As you can see their body language, man, they are tucked as tight into those bunkers as they possibly can. The only man on this field right now that is up on his feet is Konstantin Fedorov. He owns the snake side right now, and he definitely has the advantage because of that body position on Yosh Rao. Yosh Rao now focusing on watching over Oliver Lang's and watching his back. He is looking towards that D side to try to stop Mishka from running down Oliver Lang. Oliver Lang is the one trying to control Fedorov. So very interesting gunfight situation right here.
Yeah, and those pins, on both sides of the field, the 3 coming across towards the 50 on the snake side and the 3 going vertically on the Dorito side, really causing problems for shots across the field right now. But Fedorov and Oliver Lang, both very crafty players, trying to back up and look to get shots. Oliver Lang to his feet now. Still thinking about attacking Mishka, and Oliver Lang gets a shot in on Mishka as Fedorov makes a move. Here comes Yosh Rao to try and counter, but Oliver Lang is running down the 50.
Well,
he's behind Fedorov.
And Fedorov, no paint left. That's why he made that move. He had to make that move because he has no paint left. And here comes, let's see who's going to get this one. And it looks like Yosh is going to try to run down Fedorov. He does, but it looks like Oliver Lang is still left alive on the D side. So what an amazing performance by Yosh Rao and Oliver Lang to pull that point back. They were not really in good positions right there. You know, you had a situation where, you know, Fedorov, again, one of the best players that you could have to be in that position. Such an amazing gunfighter. You know, I've heard guys tell just ridiculous stories about Fedorov's snap shooting ability coming from guys that have trained with him in the dungeons in Moscow and guys that have played with him before on the different teams that he's been on. And you know, but you got a guy, you're going against a guy like Yosh Rao. There is no smarter gunfighter out there than Yosh Rao. We have watched him on this webcast and over the years pull off some ridiculous stuff. And that was actually a smart move to commit and go and run down Fedorov, who was out of paint, and which is why he pushed forward at the time that he did. But what an amazing work by the Top Gun Award winner last year, Oliver Lang, to stay alive. The score is now 2-0. We're going to be right back after this. So welcome back here. San Diego Dynasty with the 2-point advantage over Arc Chaos, though my God, that was a close point in the last one. 12 minutes and 58 seconds remain. The battle between these two powerhouse teams, and one of the heroes from that last point right there on your screen, Yosh Rao. There's Ryan Greenspan, who could potentially have a huge tournament here. This is his type of field. And man, just Oliver Lang has just been nothing but phenomenal for not only last year, but he played amazing in Dallas. You know, Oliver Lang actually, and I know if you hadn't watched Dallas, you know, Oliver Lang didn't play any paintball pretty much in the offseason as he went down to South America and went into the mountains for a little while, for a couple months. But when he came back, it's like he hadn't missed a step. He actually looked like he gained a step, to be honest.
Yeah, Kyle Spica getting shot on the break, going to the Snakeside Temple, and Fedorov makes it out to the Snakeside corner, but he gets pulled out. Not sure if a ref found a shot on him or if he got shot gun battling out of there early, but 4-on-4 now, and Oliver Lang going to catch a minor penalty. Tyler Harmon going to get pulled on that. Or no, Tyler Harmon gets shot. Two bodies both walk off.
Glenn Takamoto got pulled on that penalty, I think. Or was it Ryan? Maybe it was Ryan.
Well, just Brandon Short left alive now for San Diego Dynasty as Lukashuk comes charging to the Snakeside 50. Brandon Short bumps back across into the Dorito side tower. So 3 bodies alive now for Art Chaos on 1 San Diego Dynasty player. So, but 32 seconds left on this minor. Let's see if Art Chaos can figure it out, or Brandon Short can pull off some heroics for Dynasty, but Brandon Short doesn't even see Lukashuk come across onto his side of the field as Lukashuk edges his way down and Brandon Short takes it in the back. 14 seconds left on that minor. Art Chaos can just run this flag in. The minor's gonna come off anyway. So Oliver Lang getting that minor going up the middle right away. Tyler Harmon was the one that ended up getting pulled. Lukashuk actually shot Takamoto. So Art Chaos, let's check out this replay real quick as Art Chaos gets 1 point on the board.
So you're looking at this replay here. That's Pavel Lukashuk, pushed all the way past the 50-yard line onto Dynasty's side of the field, trying to edge out the last player. And you can see he was able to get it done there because he still had a lot of support behind him. So finally, Art Chaos is going to get on the board. We got ourselves a 1-point ball game here. 11 minutes, 31 seconds to go. We'll be right back after this.
From RazaLife.com.
Yeah, you know, Raza believes in creating something for absolutely everyone. You can customize any Raza jersey or have your own custom jersey designed just for you.
Wow, Raza sure makes it easy to represent who you are and where you're from with custom jerseys, pants, and much more.
You really can get in on the action and feast on all Raza has to offer by calling right away.
So the story of the year right now is how Raza can really bring out the style your team is looking for. Thanks for checking out RazaLife.com. Come right back after watching this tournament.
So far, we have seen here in this matchup relatively conservative breakouts from both teams. Art Chaos definitely pushing a little bit further out on both sides of the field, though, off the break. Dynasty able to take a little bit of advantage of that. And you look at this game matchup here with Art Chaos and Dynasty. You got to give the advantage to Dynasty just because we haven't really seen what we know what Art Chaos has the potential to do. But on this particular field layout, the strength in Art Chaos is the fact that they are so technically good, that they are so good at pushing forward and attacking. But when you got guys like, Ryan Greenspan, Oliver Lang, Yosh Rao, guys like Len Takamoto, you got to give the slight advantage in the clutch and the finishing to Dynasty. And also, again, talking about San Diego Dynasty, they were the 2013 overall series title holders.
Yeah, Ryan Greenspan gets shot on the break going out to Dorito 1. Oliver Lang plays off his death, comes up the middle and goes diving across into Dorito 2. It is now standing at Dorito 3, chopping bodies apart and now making his charge past the 50. Nobody picks him up. Sergey is the only body left alive, it looks like, for Art Chaos. And a grenade just gets dropped on Art Chaos right there. Looked like Fedorov got picked off out of that can by Oliver Lang's move.
Yeah, that grenade's name was Oliver Lang. Oliver Lang was just dominating on that D side of the field. I mean, he wasn't even really tucked into the bunkers. Do you notice that?
No, as soon as he saw Greenspan die, he came straight up to that can, dove across into the Dorito 2, stood up, and I believe his first kill, was Fedorov out of that snake side can. So as soon as he saw that first body drop for Art Chaos on the Dorito side field, he took off because Sergey was in that Dorito side tower looking snake side. So once again, Oliver Lang doing what he does best, reading the field, seeing the situations happen unfold in front of him, taking off and going and getting kills.
Well, that's his timing. We're talking about Oliver, so he's pretty much good at everything. But what he's really getting insanely good at is his ability to feel the pressure of what's in front of him and then dictate his game to and his timing to that pressure. Has really good field vision right now, even better than he did last year. His field vision and field awareness and that paintball IQ we talk about is just off the charts right now, and we're still seeing it now even heading into this second event, just like we did in the first event. So Alex Frazier also clocked in for a kill on Alexander Burnikoff there. So nice work by Alex Frazier and Oliver Lang to get things done in that point to go up 3-1 right now. 10 minutes and 56 seconds remain. So Art Chaos getting tested here.
Yeah, Art Chaos definitely getting tested right now, but no slouch in San Diego Dynasty over here. Dynasty, we've seen them double up both of those inside towers 3 out of the 4 points that they've played. And have success with it. So, let's see if they stick with that game plan. They got the first squad back out here again. I wouldn't doubt if we see that one more time. As they do, they keep all 5 players in the middle of the field.
So now Oliver goes up to the stand-up can in the center. There's Oliver, left-hand portion of your screen, short, and is doubling up right there, and looks like Art Chaos loses a body. Pantaleev coming off for Art Chaos. Looks like Godin got shot as well by Oliver over here on the D side. So no one on the D side at all for Art Chaos right now. Dynasty is still 5 players left alive. And if you notice, Dynasty is playing very tight, controlled, yet aggressive paintball. They are making the moves when those moves present themselves or when they earn those moves, but they are not overreaching, not overextending, just making really smart bumps. Here comes Oliver up to the center 50-yard line in the center, and he is going to be unabated. He's going to wrap around and try to get a shot on that center. I think they finally realized he's there, and then off of that move, looks like Alex Frazier was able to get out wide.
Yeah, Alex Frazier came short to the can, shooting straight ahead As soon as Oliver made his move up the middle, now jumped into that wedge. And from that wedge, he can kind of edge out on that Dorito side tower. Oliver Lang now making his move through the middle. Once again, nobody wide enough to see that middle of the field and protect it for Art Chaos and Dynasty right now, just having a field day up the middle of the field. Not giving away anything on the break.
Lang is playing flawless right now. He really is. I mean, shot a guy off the break, just read the field, counted the bodies, made his move up to the center, had a great gunfight, put the center player in, came to the other side of the A, and then made his move. Great job by the rest of the team to play off of that too. Did help that they were able to chop some bodies up off the break. So across the board, even though they're, I wouldn't say even though, Dynasty's coming out with some smart yet aggressive game plans, but they are not content by just sitting in their bunkers and trying to control lanes. They know these moves. They've obviously walked the hell out of this field and looking real sharp right now with the score 4-1. Let's check out this replay. And there's Oliver Lang. Actually went underneath the A, and he stops there in the open area and then waits, guns up, comes through, gets that kill. You can see here from the opposite angle. Look at that. Stutter steps right there, and you can see his head, and then he launches for the last guy, and they actually blew the horn. Art Chaos conceded the point right before he got that last shot in. So beautiful, masterful work right now. San Diego Dynasty looking real good against the Art Chaos team that many people have picked to win this tournament. Yeah,
and Art Chaos, every day is a new day. You got to come to play. You're not going to win just off the names that you got on your roster. Watching the NBA playoffs last night, best my favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
And Kenny Smith last night was like, hey, don't bring your name, bring your game. And
amen to that.
Right here, right now, we got San Diego Dynasty bringing their game, and Art Chaos, is kind of sitting on their name out there. And Dynasty right now with a 4-1 lead, take it down to Lauren Kelly on the sidelines.
Oh. Hey, I'm down here with Brandon Short in the Dynasty pit. Coming into this, you guys were going up against Art Chaos. They haven't played in the Champions bracket yet. What were you expecting from that?
Well, we know these guys. We've played against them for years. We know that their off-the-break shooting is incredible, but we also know their weaknesses, which I don't want to tell everybody, but we know their strengths, we know their weaknesses, so not a big surprise.
We've been seeing you guys get to the X. Do you think we'll see a lot of X play this weekend? Is it easier, more effective than the Snake side?
I guarantee you the top 4 teams will be in the X every game.
All right, we'll see if he's right. 4-1 right now. We'll see if Art Chaos can get any more points.
It's going to be really tough for Art Chaos if Dynasty continues to play this particular game like they are for them to come back. Brandon Short was playing off the chains in the beginning of this game, and then Oliver Lang is stepping up. I really haven't seen, other than, Art Chaos did put a point up. It was a pretty quick point, but it's almost flawless Dynasty right now.
Yeah, playing really well. Creating the advantage early. Art Chaos still trying to get a little bit wide. The Dynasty not giving up any bodies on the break. Doubling up those 2 inside cans, and just keeping their bodies alive and trying to get that first kill. And then once they get that first kill, Art Chaos has to start switching guns, looking around to try and find which zones need to be locked down. And then Dynasty just coming up right through the middle because Art Chaos has nobody wide and less bodies, and just taking advantage of Art Chaos right now through the middle of the field.
So taking the field for Dynasty, Ryan Greenspan hasn't got a confirmed kill yet. Oliver Lang, 8 confirmed kills for Oliver Lang. And just can't say enough good stuff about the way he's been playing the game so far this year. Blake Yarber getting a spin, Glenn Takamoto, and Kyle Spica. I talked to Kyle Spica before this event about this Snake side of the field, and said he was struggling a little bit over there. This is a really tough Snake side, and it's going to come down to who is going to be able to read what's in front of them, and then read what's happening on the D side and get that cross-field communication and realize what you can and can't do with what's in front of you.
Yeah, Art Chaos able to get Fedorov out here to the Snake side temple. Dynasty actually able to get out to that Dorito 1 on the break, but Oliver Lang still up in the middle of the field, shooting towards the Snake side, looking to attack. That's Fedorov on your screen. There's on Dynasty. You got Spica and Greenspan in that Snake side can. And then looks like Takamoto and Yarber on the Dorito side for them. Here we have Art Chaos on your screen. There's Fedorov on the right, Sergey and Lukashuk all over here on the Snake side. Mishka getting up in that can, mirroring up Oliver Lang, looking to protect the Dorito side of the field, but lets Blake Yarber sneak out from that Dorito 1 to the Dorito side corner. And here comes Mishka now up in that center A. Oliver Lang, I don't know if anybody picked him up going up in there, but there's Fedorov on your screen with Lukashuk. Both looking towards the snake side of the field right now. Looking at Oliver Lang, Glenn Takamoto, and Kyle Spica, all just pounding paint on the snake side of the field. So,
yeah, now our Chaos is in better field position because they do have a player up at the center 50-yard line. You can see their left-hand portion of your screen kind of shadowed a little bit.
yeah, just so many guns up for Dynasty right now on the players on the snake side of the field of Art Chaos. You know, this is kind of what we expected to see. You know, players all getting out alive by staying in the middle and then making smart bumps out when possible. And then just a bunch of deadlock gunfights. Yeah, Matty, this is why we were talking about the gun battling ability of all these players being so important. But Fedorov showing that he can use his gun to get out wide. Shoots Glenn Takamoto, I believe, on the way out.
Yeah,
so
Takamoto does get shot by Konstantin Fedorov. One body advantage right now for Art Chaos. Dynasty slow playing this point still. Doubled up there on your screen. Kyle Spica and Ryan Greenspan doubling up. You can see Ryan Greenspan. And then here comes, there's Fedorov is behind Lukashuk. Lukashuk making that move across. So Pavel is going to try to wrap around and get a shot on Oliver Lang. I do not think Oliver Lang knows that that snake is hot. This is going to put Oliver in a bad spot, man. Oliver is now standing up trying to gunfight. Pavel finally tucked into his bunker. You can see he's trying to get that drop shot in. And Ryan Greenspan dies out of his bunker. He was in with Kyle Spica. So Dynasty, 3 players left alive for them, 5 for Art Chaos. This could be Art Chaos's point. 6 minutes and 49 seconds to go.
So Sergey comes out of that Dorito side tower and comes across, is now working with Lukashuk. Bierdnikov was able to sneak out from that Dorito 1 out to the Dorito side corner. Fedorov looks like he got the credit for the Ryan Greenspan kill. He is now up in the middle with Mishka playing that middle pin, trying to get a shot in on Oliver Langer, Blake Yarber, as Fedorov launches through the middle of the field, doesn't get anybody, but in the confusion, Kyle Spica gets shot, and Lukashuk bumps into the 50. Here comes Oliver Lang trying to make a move on Mishka. He gets chopped up, and now here comes Sergei Solnishkov looking to run down Blake Yarber, but looks like Dynasty blows the horn. So 4-2 ball game, 6 minutes left to go. We'll be right back after this.
Shooting on the break is what I do. The Vanquish has a pressure-balanced spool valve firing engine. This makes the Vanquish smooth, accurate, and consistent. A recipe for domination on the break. My name is Travis Lemansky. I play for Team Infamous, and the Vanquish takes my game to another level.
So welcome back here, 2014 PSP Mid-Atlantic Open. Matty Marshall alongside Todd Martinez. So the morning bracket here getting underway. Art Chaos going to pull within 2. The score is now 4-2. 6 minutes and 11 seconds left to go. Not a lot of time. Seen a lot of long points. Exciting points, though. Again, 3-act structure of this, the innate nature of this game. You're going to see it all weekend long. Off the break, who's going to make it out alive? What spots are they going to take? Dynasty choosing some very conservative game plans, but they are working out. But Dynasty not content with just sitting in the back. They are definitely pushing forward. Oliver continuing to have a good game. He was able to eat up Fedorov and stay alive in that very perilous situation. Greenspan dropped his body, got shot out of his bunker, left Spica alive over here, and it looks like a timeout being called. So Todd, if you were on Dynasty's side, would you be trying to say, hey, we got the lead, let's just play some smart paintball here? But I think that, you know, I would say that they need to continue to do what had been working, which is when you see those moves, take those moves. Because Art Chaos, when Brandon Short was talking about what they are good at and what their weaknesses is, or what their weaknesses are, one of their weaknesses is definitely not attacking when you need points. So Art Chaos is incredibly good at that.
Yeah, well, you know, Dynasty, they ran that same game plan again where they doubled up both towers and then risked one guy out wide. He made it into the Dorito, but you know, Art Chaos, you know, they recognized what Dynasty was doing, called their timeout, made their adjustments, and then slowly worked their way. They got Fedorov out wide, and then, you know, made those slow bumps. Fedorov made a really good shot, you know, which we've seen him do time and time again. Stood up, edged out, shot Glenn Takamoto on his run out to the corner, spread the field, and that's really what let Art Chaos start making those bumps. You know, Dynasty got bottled up. Art Chaos was actually able to, you know, use a lot of time, but, you know, used the Dynasty's field spread to, you know, get out wide slowly and then attack them, you know, get that field position. So, I mean, Dynasty, they're really good gun battlers. They can get to those spots doubled up and shoot a ton of paint and, you know, fight with guys. But, you know, is that going to be able to stop Art Chaos if they get out their 5 bodies alive and they're looking to attack and they're able to get out wide? So, you know, is Dynasty going to try and do that again? I would guess yes. Art Chaos, are they going to risk coming out to this snake side of the field again? Probably. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think Art Chaos is going to just, you know, try and stay bottled up in the middle and gun it out. They're going to risk somebody. You know, we've seen Fedorov, you know, come out to this corner, seen him dive into that snake side close temple a couple times, but, you know, they realized that they needed to get up in the middle a little bit as well. So, you know, Art Chaos does a really good job of playing off of each other. And, you know, when you have your first guy is Konstantin Fedorov, you know, to kind of lead the way, then everybody else, you know, kind of falls in place.
Well, Mishka, Sonaiskov, and Fedorov have combined for 11 confirmed kills. 4 for both Mishka and Sergey. Fedorov, 3. Oliver Lang, the confirmed kill leader right now, with 9. So 4-2 is the score. 6 minutes to go. And you see the lineup right now, again, doubling up. Those 2 bunkers has pretty much been the stock and trade game plan for Dynasty, and then they bump out and they send Brandon short. This is Brandon doing exactly what he did in that awesome 3-pack run through, that 4-kill performance he had early on to kind of set the pace for this game. And it looks like, Art Chaos losing a body, trying to push up in that center. This is definitely going to weigh in the advantage for Dynasty here. 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Art Chaos needing to score 2 points, and that was Mishka. Got shot by Ryan Greenspan, so Ryan Greenspan stepping it up on the D side, and that's going to enable Brandon Short on your screen right now up in that center 50.
Now, and Biernikov getting a major penalty out of that Dorito 1. Going to get Sergey pulled, so just 2 bodies left alive now. We got Fedorov and Lukashuk, both players over here on the snake side, as Oliver Lang is telling his team to just slow down, don't go anywhere, let the clock run. He can pretty much sit in these, have Dynasty sit in their bunkers until the 2-3 minute mark.
look at Oliver yelling at Ryan to slow down, and Ryan's like, nope, sorry, I need to get some kills. And Ryan just runs. Ryan refuses to listen to Oliver and just runs down the field, shoots all the last two players left alive. And then is like, no, give me the flag. And he slips a little bit, hangs it up. But nice job by Ryan Greenspan there. And so nice work by Dynasty. Put another point on the board. It definitely helped that Bernikov was getting, or that he did get a major penalty. And there's still 1 minute and 22 seconds left on that one. So that's a typical of the Lang-Greenspan relationship right there. We're going to be right back after this. Welcome back here. The score 5-2. San Diego Dynasty with a comfortable lead over Art Chaos. So can Art Chaos use this 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this matchup to try to put 3 points on the board and tie it up? It's going to be tough. We've seen longer points, so they do not have that much time left. They are forced to play aggressive, so look for some big breakouts from Art Chaos. They're going to have to go into the guns of Dynasty. Look for Dynasty to do that standard double up the back 2 center bunkers. That it's probably going to work for them. It's going to be hard for Art Chaos. Art Chaos is going to have to shoot bodies off the break. That's really their only option at this particular juncture in the game. and they have a major penalty. Still 1 minute and 22 seconds left on that one, as we see the man that got that penalty walking out, and who was the 2012 Top Gun Award winner, best statistical player in all of paintball that year, making the move over to Art Chaos finally. So can Art Chaos get it done? We're about to find out.
Art Chaos breaking out with 4 bodies. San Diego Dynasty, same breakout. Doubled up both spots. Oliver Lang launches up the middle with Mishka getting shot on the break, coming out. Fedorov makes it out to the snake side corner, but San Diego Dynasty just completely in control of the Dorito side of the field.
Oliver's not even playing in a bunker right now. And then Ryan is just, now after that awesome performance he had in that last point, is now in D3, almost to the 50-yard line.
So Ryan Greenspan sitting in that D3, Oliver Lang watching over him, Brandon Short watching over him on the inside. Both Yosh Rao and Alex Frage pounding on Fedorov over here, who was able to sneak into Snake 1. 39 seconds left to go on the penalty, just under 4 minutes left to go in the ball game. You got Bierdnikov, Lukashuk, and Fedorov as Oliver Lang comes diving into the X, into the A, into that little fortress over there. You see him now wrapping around, dealing with Bierdnikov. I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver Lang looks to launch. Here comes Brandon Short coming up into the wedge on the snake side of the field. Fedorov still looking at 2 guns in front of him. Alex Frage and Yosh Rouse. Fedorov comes on the inside, dives into the 50, looking to get a shot in on Brandon Short.
Yeah, Brandon's gonna have to tighten up over there. Fedorov is in a good spot. Referee's all over him though. See if he's clean, and it looks like he is, but so Nicekov dies behind Fedorov.
Yeah,
so now just 3 players left alive, Todd.
Yeah, he came out of the box and got shot right away. Nowhere to go. Fedorov battling every which way he can. Looks like he got a shot in on Yosh Rao. He does. Shoots Yosh Rao in the goggles. He comes walking off, so now just 1 body looking at him. Alex Frage in that snake side can. Brandon Short looking across the field, trying to protect Oliver Lang.
Dude, Todd, Fedorov just had an insane jump shot, perfectly put on Glenn Takamoto, but then he gets a major penalty. So even though he just had an awesome shot, I mean, he literally just jumped over the top of the bunker and put a perfectly placed in the air shot on Takamoto. He pushes forward, and I think that was Brandon Short that chalked him up, and it was Oliver. So Oliver was able to get that shot in on Fedorov, and Fedorov not liking that call at all. You can see the crowd responded. And so frustrating turn of events for all the Art Chaos fans out there. 2 of the best players in the world, Fedorov and Bierdnikov, both getting major penalties in these points. Dynasty now 1 point away from taking this Titan game we're watching. 2 minutes and 31 seconds remain. You can see Fedorov still pleading his case. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for an explosion of paintball videos? Then stay tuned to paintballaccess.com because the CXBL is back for their 10th anniversary season. Catch all the best pro talent north of the border as teams battle it out in full X-Ball matches. Paintballaccess.com, on the field, in the pits, behind the scenes.
We are back here with just a few minutes remaining in this matchup. Next up, the team that won the last event, the Dallas Open, Los Angeles Infamous, will be taking on the upstart Chicago Aftershock, trying to maintain their legacy. Let's check in with Lauren down in the pits.
I am down here in Dynasty's pit with Blake Yarber. Blake, you guys are up 4 points, 6-2. Were you expecting it to be this far of a point spread, or were you expecting it to be closer?
I thought I was going to play a little slower, but no, I'm not surprised.
When you guys were talking about going up against Art Chaos, what were some of the weaknesses you discussed them having that you could take advantage of?
We knew that they were going to try to go wide and then stay in the pocket, but that's, standard.
You guys feel like you have this in the bag, 6-2 with 2 minutes?
I think they're sitting on their heels.
Alrighty, well thank you so much. We'll see if Dynasty can get 7 points and win this match.
Well, Todd, I would normally you never want to say it's in the bag, but with 2 minutes and 31 seconds remaining, the way that Dynasty's playing, 4 points separates these 2 teams. I kind of got to agree with Blake Yarber at this particular point in this match.
Well, Dynasty's not giving Art Chaos anything on the break. They're doubling up those 2 towers and just shooting heavy guns, and it's really hard to get out wide on this field. Kind of figured this was going to happen. I didn't think people would actually just double up both of those bunkers, but Art Chaos, if Dynasty's going to do that, Art Chaos has to shoot at least the wide guy, but Ryan Greenspan, he may not look very quick, but he's pretty nimble on his little tippy toes.
Yeah, he's
and
fast.
He's been bolting out to that Dorito 1, getting in there, and, he's probably one of the best gun battlers in the league. When you get Ryan Greenspan out to that Dorito 1 wide, and then you got heavy guns in the middle there, then, it's going to make it hard for any team. So, Dynasty with both guns, 2 guns on each side on the breakout, getting one guy out wide alive. Art Chaos's only hope of being able to make a play early is to shoot Ryan Greenspan or who's ever going out to that Dorito 1, because Dynasty only came out to the Snakeside Temple one time, and, Spica got shot going there. So, Art Chaos still testing going out wide. They've actually made it, surprisingly more than, we figured that they would. But, Dynasty just doing a really good job of locking it up. And then once they get all their bodies alive, making really smart secondary moves up the field. When you got guys like Oliver Lang, Brandon Short, Ryan Greenspan, they're really good at reading those situations.
And Todd, how good is Brandon Short playing right now? Obviously Dynasty's got an incredibly deep roster with just talent across the board, but Brandon Short, 5 confirmed kills for him, and he was the one that really set the pace in this, powerhouse versus powerhouse matchup. He came out right away, wasn't scared, and like he had said, though, he's been playing against these guys for so long. It's just great to see Brandon Short playing as well as he is right now. 5 guns up in the pocket for Dynasty, and then they dig out wide. Oliver Lang gets chewed to bits, though, and it looks like they might have lost Tyler Harmon as well, and I think Tyler is alive. So 4 players alive right now for Dynasty as they do have that lead. A minute and 45 seconds remains on Art Chaos's penalty, so pretty much for the rest of regulation time. Art Chaos forced to push aggressive, but unfortunately, actually they have two major penalties on Art Chaos, Todd.
Yeah, Art Chaos with their 3 bodies right now. Fedorov, who got that major there at the end, is now trying to charge up the snake side of the field. He's getting a little help, but looks like finally getting shot. Axel Godin in that 50 Dorito, but not after he takes a couple with him. Fedorov now getting shot in the arm in a gun battle with Brandon Short, and he was the last body left alive. It was a 2-on-1 after Axel got shot out of that 50 because Sergey died behind Fedorov. So Tyler and Short going to close out this game. That's going to be a 7-2 victory for San Diego Dynasty. So, not the epic back and forth battle
that we were expecting,
that we might have expected, but that doesn't mean that every single point played out here wasn't a very, very close point, with some very well played, very smart paintball, So, when you get two very dynamic, very awesome teams, this is the type of game you can get.
Yeah, so, congratulations to San Diego Dynasty as they will take the victory here over Art Chaos. But still, Art Chaos looked really good. Next up, Los Angeles Infamous taking on Chicago Aftershock. And, Infamous in their last performance played about as well as you can play, at least on Sunday. They played you guys in the finals, and that game was pretty close, even though when you go and look at the actual points that were scored, not as close as the score, or it was closer than the score would dictate. And they're playing Chicago Aftershock, one of my favorite teams to watch just because those guys are so crazy. They're all over the place. But they have started to cultivate a much more mature attack. So, we will see, Is it going to be is it going to be Chicago Aftershock? Is it going to be Los Angeles Infamous? Let's take a look at the schedule for the remaining games of the day. Still lots more paintball coming at you. After the Infamous Shock game, we're going to see LA Ironman take on Art Chaos. That's another awesome game. And then Dynasty going to be taking on Chicago Aftershock, and then Infamous and Ironman to end the morning's competition. Then we head into the afternoon bracket. San Antonio X Factor, Upton 187 crew, Omaha Vicious, Tampa Bay Damage, Impact crew, and it's San Antonio X Factor, Tampa Bay Damage, and Omaha Vicious and Edmonton Impact to close out the day. So let's check in with Lauren before we sign up for a quick break before the next match.
It's new. I like it.
I am down here with Rusty Glaze and Ryan Greenspan. They just beat Art Chaos 7-2. Congratulations. Were you guys expecting it to be kind of a far point spread like that?
We try not to look too far into the match and expect anything. We just look at each point individually and try and focus on that.
Coming into this match, I know you guys really look at the other teams and strategize based on how they play. What weaknesses did you know Art Chaos had coming into this?
We didn't. I don't really think they had any. Just our guys played hard, and they're a good team, and we just gave it everything we got.
Ryan, when the
And
layout...
We're good. Also, we're okay. We're pretty good still.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good. When the layout was first released, what was one of the first things that you noticed and knew you had to practice?
Well, initially after I panicked and saw the layout, no, it's the same thing. They're trying to change things up, and we played it the first weekend and noticed it was kind of slower. So we thought that the scores were going to be a little lower, you know, assuming that it was going to be a long game because you shoot a lot more paint. But it ended up, you know, the point margin there was a little bit different than what we had practiced, and you know, it's okay. But I like it. Now we can actually, there's movement down the Doritos. It's fun. I don't know. You got to ask the people who are watching if it's exciting or not.
How did you guys initially feel about the middle of the field being so open?
Well, the X is a lot stronger. So I think that you're going to see, you know, we're the first pro match, but I think you're going to see a lot more teams going up to that X and playing, you know, doing a lot of cool moves. Like the first point, Brandon ran up there, you know, got a kill and then ran down the field and shot 3 guys. And, you know, we were cheering. We were excited. I think Rusty was excited for that one, too. You were cheering on the sidelines. I heard you. But yeah, you're going to see a lot more moves like that, and that's going to take a lot of pressure off these Dorito guys. I think the Snake's still going to be pretty slow, but I don't know. I'm not a Snake guy. What do I know?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dynasty 1, 7-2. Stay tuned for more matches.
Woo!